Hare Krishna. Let's continue hearing the opulences of Krishna, which will help us to remember Krishna 24 by 7. In shloka number 40 and 41. Let's recite both the shlokas. Nantosti mama divyana vibhutinam parantapa esha tuddeshatah prokto vibhuter vistaro maya yadyad vibhuti mat sattvam Shrimad urjitameva va tattad eva va gachatvam mama tejomsha sambhavam. So in shloka number 40, Krishna is saying, Na antaha asti mama divyanam vibhutinam parantapa, O mighty conqueror of enemies. Na antaha, there is no end to what? Mama divyanam vibhutina, to my divine opulences or for my divine manifestations. Esha tu uddeshatah prokto. So what I have spoken to you is just a mere indication, some examples of vibhuter vistaro maya, of my infinite opulences. It's a very nice and a humbling verse which Krishna is actually saying here. He's saying that whatever I've described till now, so for us when we were reading this, it was like, so many opulences. But then Krishna is saying, this is just few examples that I gave of my infinite opulences. It is described in one of the literatures that Ananta Shesh, which is 1,000 hoods, he has started describing Lord's glories, Lord's opulences from time immemorial. Still he is not able to complete. It is also described in another place that if we use all the trees in this world to make pen, and if we use all the water that is present in all the oceans as ink, and if we use the sky as the paper, still will not be able to completely describe the opulences and the glories of Lord Sri Krishna. Can we imagine where is Krishna and where are we? Krishna is Vibhu, he is infinite, he is the most amazing one. And what are we? We are Anu, we are Chutku, we are zero. We have no existence in front of Krishna. Just imagine, we are in the middle of the ocean, in a very, very small boat. We are alone. And all the four sides is just water. And we cannot see land anywhere. Just close your eyes and just imagine once. Just imagine what will happen to us. How small we will feel. So much of water around. And we are just there in a small boat. And in that small boat, small portion we have acquired and we are standing or sitting there. How small we will feel. And what is that ocean? Just one little chutku part of Krishna's opulence. So when we actually think about Krishna's opulence, automatically we become humble. We will never become proud of anything. Whatever pride we have, as in English we say, even a beggar is proud of the penny that he has. So whatever pride we have, whatever we are proud of, is what? Are some qualities which Krishna has thrown on us. Some little qualities. So where is the question of becoming proud? So it's a very important shloka, where Krishna is making us humble and telling us, you chutku entities, you can never become God. You can never become me. Unfortunately, there are so many so-called organizations and sects which speak that, in 6 months we can become God. We are just an illusion. Illusion is removed, we'll realize that we are God. I read it somewhere on the t-shirt of someone, where the person was saying, I was an atheist till the point I realized that I am God. So this is all nonsense. The ones who don't read Bhagavad Gita and understand the opulence of Krishna, they can never ever understand that we are not God and we can never become God. When Krishna was just 6 days old is not the right word, but still I'm using it, 6 days old. He killed Putana. Putana was a huge demoness. It is described that her size was almost equivalent to 12 miles. But Krishna, when he killed her, he didn't increase his size. He was a 6 days old, and he was just there in that small baby form. He killed her. So this is the point to understand. God, we can never become God. God is always God. There is no course that is there, that we do a course and we become God. So here it's very clear. He has got infinite opulences. And just because Arjuna was inquisitive, Krishna said, chalo, chalo, I'll tell you something. And then he spoke few verses. Here Prabhupada says, as stated in the Vedic literature, although the opulences and energies of Supreme are understood in various ways, there is no limit to such opulences. Therefore, not all the opulences and energies can be explained. Simply a few examples are being described to Arjuna to pacify his inquisitiveness. So it's very, very clear that even the Vedas cannot describe complete opulence of Krishna. How can we mortal beings try to describe or understand the opulences of Krishna? In the next shloka, Krishna says, Yadyat vibhuti matsattvam srimad urji tam evava. So here he is saying that yadyat, whatever we see in this world, what is he talking about? Vibhuti, that is opulences, srimad, beauty, and urjitam, that is the glorious creation. So he is saying that all that you are able to see, sattad evava gachatvam mama tejomsha sambhava. So all that you are seeing here, all great things actually springs from a spark of my splendor. Krishna is not even saying splendor, he is saying spark of my splendor. It's like saying the fire that you are seeing there is coming from the spark that has come out of the big fire that is me. That's what Krishna is saying here. So basically, when we see anything good in this world, as it is said, vibhuti, any opulence in this world, shrimat, any beauty in this world, be it the nature's beauty or people's beauty, and urjitam, any glorious thing in this world, the first thing that should come to our mind is the word Krishna. Because it's only by Krishna's mercy, it's only the spark of the splendor of Krishna is what we are able to see. Whenever we see any person very intelligent, very beautiful, very smart, even if one quality or very strong, whatever we see, we have to imagine or remember that, oh, spark of splendor of Krishna I can see. So in this verse, Krishna is actually giving us a way to remember him every now and then. Just by this, we can remember him 24/7. Anything good that we see, the first thing that should come to our mind is Krishna. Here it is said that any glorious or beautiful existence should be understood to be but a fragmental manifestation of Krishna's opulence, whether it be in spiritual or material world. Anything extraordinarily opulent should be considered to represent Krishna's opulence. So next time onwards, anywhere where we go, or any person whom we meet, obviously there will be some wonderful quality in a place or a person. We should be able to remember Krishna, and we should be able to chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. In this way, we can become fully Krishna conscious by remembering Krishna 24/7. So finally, we are coming to the last shloka, shloka number 42 of 10th chapter. And this shloka is a very nice and a very important shloka which Krishna is describing. He is summing up all his opulences. So let's see this final shloka in the next video. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.